Alrighty. Hi there, my name is Reagan Vicaro. I decided to do a dynamic pricing strategy for Sporting Kansas City for this upcoming home season for the MLS season. This season looks a little bit different than seasons that we've seen in the past where they had a lot more games on the weekdays. So there was a lot more fluctuation within pricing. But due to the new Apple TV deal, where most MLS games happen to be on a Saturday and Sunday, ticket prices are going to be higher because they're in higher demand. There's also higher demand to actually see a game in person because of the discrepancy between fans who want to actually go see their team play in person versus pay for Apple TV to actually have that exclusive viewing right to watch those games. So I'll just get started in going through the pricing structure. So a little bit about it. I have sorted them into different tiers based off of historical rivalries, teams with maybe some players that people are excited to see, and then those teams that, people aren't as excited to see or they mean less in terms of a rivalry standpoint. So that kind of affects the dynamic price. So first to get us started is the home opener on March 2nd against the Philadelphia Union. It's on a Saturday. There's no special event necessarily happening. And Philadelphia usually pulls a decent crowd, but because it is the home opener, it's going to be priced a little higher at 60. And then March 16th, San Jose, same thing, but $50 instead of 60. Being that it's March and in Kansas City at home, it's going to be a little cooler and it's going to be more difficult to get fans out, especially during kids being in school and whatnot on those weekends, and having their own sorts of sports games. Then March 23rd, LA Galaxy. It's in that high category because LA Galaxy is a huge rivalry for Kansas City. So it's going to be 65 still because of due to it being in March and at those things that I had mentioned previously. Going into April, we have the Portland Timbers. This is a really high stakes game for Sporting Kansas City. There's usually a huge rivalry between these two teams. Lots of, fandom within this. So it's going to be priced pretty high at $85. And that's around that holiday weekend. So a lot of people will be wanting to do things with their family. Then the following week is Inter Miami FC. And given that the cap is $100, it's going to be at that cap because it's Inter Miami. If you've been following Lionel Messi and a lot of his other Barcelona teammates now are part of that Inter Miami squad, and they're selling out stadiums everywhere, and people want those tickets. So tickets are going to be high, and people will buy them, and there's no reason to not capitalize off that. Going on to April 20th is another huge game for Sporting Kansas City against St. Louis City SC. This is one of the most historical rivalries in the past few years. The teams play each other hard. They played each other in the playoffs. And these fans travel well on both sides. So those are going to be priced pretty high still because there's going to be high demand for that game. Houston Dynamo, we're getting into the summer months, so it's going to be nicer out. But it's going to be coming off of, a few games of some pretty high stakes. So bumping that back down to 60, just assuming that there's going to be less of a crowd and there's less of a historical rivalry there. Minnesota United, there's a higher rivalry with that. So we're bumping that back up, especially it being June. Lots of people want to be there and it'll be more competitive in that space. June 8th, assuming based off of typical match day and marketing practices, it will be the Pride match, which will draw a huge crowd, especially for those Pride groups in Kansas City that they'll invite out, special events, special t-shirts. So that'll also be priced very highly. LA Galaxy, similar. LA Galaxy always has some of the biggest crowds, most sought after tickets, so similar there. June 29th against Austin FC, again, midst of summer. It's going to be the game that they provide those fireworks for the 4th of July. So it's going to be pretty sought after, even though there's holiday travel around there. And again, Austin FC is a pretty decent teammate or decent rivalry in there. Not as quite as high as some others, but pretty sought after in some senses. FC Dallas, given that it's a summer game, it's still going to be $70. but it's in that moderate category. July 20th, we play St. Louis City SC again. And again, given that it is the second of the two of the meetings for the season, it'll be priced even higher and probably be even more sought after, given that either Sporting KC wins or loses the first game. More people will want to see who wins the best of two there. Orlando City, coming off of some big games, so less high stakes there. But August 24th, right in the midst of summer, beautiful weather usually, lots of people wanting to go to that game. Seattle, this is a really big opponent and a really big club for Sporting Kansas City to play. Usually very highly sought after and highly attended games. Minnesota United, a rivalry, yes, but September leading back down to the season, it won't be as highly sought after, just given that it's the middle of school season starting, and a lot of back to school sports, and just being Minnesota United just not being as good historically, and same with FC Dallas below that. Now, a lot of these games could change, kind of given how the season goes, but this is just as single game tickets begin at the beginning of the season. Hope that helped, and I will be submitting. Thank you.